Good morning and welcome back to Joe and Di's allotment channel. We're in week 3 of August now. It's a transition month, so we're sort of coming to the end of some crops like cucumbers, tomatoes are sort of rapidly turning red now and we're picking them, but we're still doing some sowing and we're still doing some planting out. So that's our sort of successional crops that we sort of like to see sort of keep going as long as we can basically. We're spending so much time just watering at the moment. It's taking us sort of hours and hours every sort of week just watering the crops to keep them alive at the moment. But saying that, it looks like a hosepipe band's coming in as well shortly, but as far as I'm aware it doesn't affect allotments. It will affect if you've got sort of kitchen garden at home, allotment bans, but the Allotment Association have sort of said that allotments are exempt, so that's one good bit of news. So we'll get on and do some planting out and some sowing and some harvesting and some other jobs as well this week to do. So we've still got some sowing to do this week. I'm going to sow some early cabbage, which should be ready around sort of April, May next year. Some more spring onion and some more mustard. So the mustard and the spring onion we sow successionally, so every 2-3 weeks, which extends the life of the crop all the way through to probably November. Yeah, so this was the week last week, so they've not even germinated yet, but I'm sowing some more. So once they're ready, these will be ready a week or 2 weeks later. So we'll keep them going. If necessary, I'll put them into the greenhouse if the greenhouse is empty by then, and that provides a crop through the greenhouse as well. I've just noticed these Durham early cabbage seeds actually expired in 2020. So what I'll do is I think I'll just chuck loads of them into a pot in the hope that some of them do germinate. Yeah, we'll see how they go. There's not many left in the pack anyway, so I'll just chuck the whole lot in the pot I think and see how it goes. So we've pre-watered the modules already in the pots, labelled them, so all ready to go. So these are white Lisbon spring onions. Just sort of sprinkle them gently into the pot. So each pot will be a bunch of onions. And once they get planted out, we'll get a bunch of onions from each pot hopefully. That should be sufficient there. And we've got some giant mustard, red giant mustard, which is successfully planted as well. Get a continual crop, hopefully all the way to November. Not many of them left. A bit in each one. That's run out, so I've only done 3. But yeah, not too bad. I think I'll put spring onions in the other ones as well. I think I'll put spring onions into these 3 as well, just to use up the modules. You can never have enough spring onions. You always eat spring onions, so need to get some more mustard seeds in. So just cover them all lightly. Give them a nice firm down. And even though they've been pre-watered, I might just give them another little sprinkle on top. And they'll stay out here now until they germinate. So the cabbage and mustard should be up in about 7 to 12 days. And the spring onions can take up to 21 days to germinate. That's it. So one thing we like to plant successionally is salad onions. So if you plant them successionally, you can get them all the way through to November, and they're really good planting them in sort of modules and then plant them out because you can utilise little spaces that become available. So yeah, I mean we sort of more or less plant seeds every week to 2 weeks now really, and we try and keep the season going as long as possible. And you can put them into once the greenhouse becomes available, you can sow some into plant some out into your greenhouse as well. and extend the season a little bit that way as well. So we'll get on and sow these out. I like to use a spoon, it's quite useful actually. So in little bunches, so that means when they grow we'll have a little bunch of spring onions all in one go. So the roots have actually got to the bottom of the module as well. Put those in and we'll give them a good watering as well. Give these spring onions a good watering in. The soil is so dry. You seem to water it, come back the next day and it's dry again. It's just like drying so rapidly at the moment. They've harvested some plums, there's not many left now on the tree, and some eating apples, and we're going to harvest the outdoor tomatoes, and they're getting to quite a high level in the fridge now, so we're going to have to think about what to do with those to store some. So I've got quite a few tomatoes there in the outside plants, a nice red pepper, and a few more cucumbers. These apple ones are lovely, we like these apple ones. So yeah, not bad crop. Even though we grow lots of stuff ourselves, we still like to do a bit of foraging. These are lovely on our breakfast in the morning. But we had a fire a short while ago, and it's burnt a great big area of the blackberries away. So a lot have been damaged now. They'll grow back again, I presume, but yeah, lots of fires around the country at the moment. That was just a little small one. So we've got various sort of water containers around the allotment. So we don't use a hose pipe directly. We fill up the butts and then we use watering cans to actually water, which sort of I suppose reduces significantly the amount of water we use. So it does save some water. And we've had incidents before where people have forgotten and left their hose pipes on all night. So that's a hell of a lot of waste of water. So yeah, we fill up the butts and then we water from the butts. Yeah, so what we do is we just fill up the butts around the allotment, various ones around the allotment, so it makes it easier to use the water. So another job for this week is to turn over the compost bins, because if you aerate them it allows the microbes to sort of develop a lot better. They don't develop if it's too dry. So I've pulled off all the sort of barky material, try and give it a sort of rotation. There's a little bit of moisture underneath. I think we'll give it a good sprinkle. That's not too bad. We'll give it a sprinkle of water as well. And we'll get some bark as well. Put some bark on, put the woody material back on top, and then put some more bark on top and give it another good watering and cover it, I think, to try and retain the moisture levels. You don't get that problem when you've got the sort of plastic compost bins, because they retain their moisture. It doesn't evaporate so rapidly. But where it's open, it's been so dry, it evaporates very quickly. So I'll give it a turn over, get some air into it. Very hard to sort of turn at the moment. Try and get some air into it, and then we'll put some bark in it. That's it. We'll give it some water next, I think. So I'll give it a good 3 or 4 watering cans full, just to bring the moisture levels up a bit before I put the bark on top, and then put a bit more water on it, and then put the woody material in and bark it again, and hopefully that will get it cooking. So we're getting some wood chips just to add to the compost bins. Yeah, it's just to add some carbon to activate a bit more. Yeah, normally by this time of year they're rotting down quite well, so it's because it's been so dry, I think, that it's just not activating very well. So we'll add some more water, and hopefully it'll start activating. And what we do when we get to sort of autumn period, when we've got empty plots, we'll lay it on top of the plots anyway and let it rot down over winter anyway. Let it rot down over winter, let the worms drag it into the soil, and any bits that are left on top that aren't decayed or still too hard, we'll put back onto the compost bin again. So it's sort of an annual cycle. So we'll take these down and we'll put one on each plot. Give it a bit more water now. That's another 2 watering cans full. That should bring up the moisture levels quite a bit. And I'll put all that dry stuff on top now, and then put some more bark on top of that. Put some more water on and cover it over. So hopefully that will get it activating. And if we do get some rain in the next few days, that will help as well. We've got a bucket of got an apples and plums here, which will add a bit of moisture as well. I've spread the dry material over the top. Put some more bark on top of that now. Spread that round a bit. And we'll give that a bit more water, cover it over, and hopefully that'll get it going. We planted these plants and modules about 2 or 3 weeks ago now, I think. Now suffering from the heat, something chronic. So what we're going to do, we've got a tip from someone who lives in Arizona, and they're used to dealing with the heat. So what we're going to do is put some netting over it to give it a little bit of shade. So we'll carry on watering it as much as we can, but hopefully the shade will keep some of the heat off the soil as well. So we'll cover it over with some netting like we have done the cow one over there. So we've netted it over and weighed it down with some bricks just to stop the wind sort of blowing it away again, and that will hopefully protect the leaves from the sun a little bit. It's got a sort of bit of a dapple shade in there now, so we'll see if that helps. So another job we want to do this week is pot up as many runners as we can. We've had the worst yield possible from our strawberry plot this year. We don't know whether it's because it's aging or whether it's also a combination of the weather that we've had this year, but it's time to renew the plot, so we're going to move it to a different place on the allotment this year. So what we do is we put up some of the runners, so as plants throw out their runners, they throw out lots of runners and they start rooting. You can see the sort of roots coming through there. So what we do is put them into a pot, with some soil. We brought our own potting compost from our compost at home, which is quite useful. So we then cut off the other runners. So we just leave the strongest one, or the first one, which is normally the strongest one. We clip it into a pot. So midsummer is a good time to sort of prune fruit trees as well, especially well-established ones. As you can see, this plum tree's got far too tall. It's sort of too tall to reach the top of the fruit. So by sort of cutting it lower, it will sort of improve air circulation, save water for the tree as well actually, because it won't need so much water to sort of give water to the top of the tree and nutrients. Yeah, by shortening it as well, it sort of reduces some diseases as well. Silver leaf or fungal disease, I believe, is the one that affects sort of plums. So by having better air circulation, you can sort of avoid that as well. So you can prune your apples, your cherries, your plums. Good time of year to do it. Shorten any sort of really tall bits, and you can shorten some of the length of some of the branches as well this time of year. I'll get on and do that this week as well at some stage. That's the apple tree, and that's getting a bit too tall as well now, so it's just a matter of bringing the height down a bit really on the trees that have got a bit too straggly, I suppose. So one way we like to store some of our produce is to cook it all down into a mixture. So we've got tomatoes, we've got basil here, we've got courgettes, peppers, onions and garlic. So we cook that all down into a sauce, I suppose, tomato sauce, and we freeze it, and then we use that as a basis for bologneses or lasagnas or chili con carne or casseroles, other things as well. So it's one way of sort of storing your crops. So we cook it down. We probably use some of it tonight as well, and what we do is we freeze the rest into containers in the freezer, and then we can get them out when we need them. So we've put a little bit of water in the bottom of the pan. That's a kilogram of courgettes going in there. So it's all our own produce in the allotment. We've got 500 grams of red onions going in there. Chuck those in. We have got 250 grams of onion peppers, 9 cloves of garlic and some fresh basil. I just pulled out the onions. So what I'll do now is I'll chop up the probably about a kilogram of tomatoes. Probably chop those up next. So we've ended up chopping up 1.6 kilograms of tomatoes. So the pot is quite full now really. I've let it cook down. We cooked that down for a while. Yep, looking good. So yeah, that's near enough filled up the pot. So what we do is give that a good stir in, cook it down, and once it's cooled down completely, we'll put it into freezer boxes and freeze it. And as I said, get it out when we need it. Probably after all our fresh produce has been used up completely. So small, you know, in the all small winter, we can use it. Or if we are sort of short of time one day and we're going out somewhere, we'll get a box out and it'll be defrosted by the time we get home. We can use it then. So yeah, good idea to how to store some of your produce. Still got a lot of tomatoes to harvest in here as well. Loads of cherry tomatoes. Hope you've enjoyed this week's video. Give us a like, let us know that you've enjoyed it, and leave us a comment in the box if you'd like to sort of, you know, share any ideas or any comments with everybody else. Thank you for watching, and if you'd like to follow our journey through the allotment year, please consider subscribing using the circle with my picture in it below. Again, thanks for watching. Happy gardening everybody, and take care.